Welcome to the Project 820 podcast. Podcast disclaimer. The following podcast is just a couple guys riffing back and forth about nerdy stuff, current events, hot button topics, and everything in between. Everything is opinion based, and sometimes facts will be incorrect and misinformed. No one knows everything, and we aren't always fact checking while we record. Knowing this, be aware when commenting that a constructive correction is always welcome, but a harassing and aggressive retort will be laughed at and dismissed immediately. That's all. Enjoy the show. This is the Project 820 podcast. I have to have that in. It's amazing. Like, manly arm dance. Wait.
Video! Whoa, my voice sounds really weird.
We should never do video again. Right. 30 downvotes just right off of that.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, God, this video podcast is horrible.
Well, you know now our one listener, John.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hi, John. Yeah, like he's going to be so super excited to actually see us talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like we're a lot louder now because, well, the monitor's really...
I turned up the monitor quite a bit so that we weren't distracted by other stuff.
Nice. Also, you might hear Parks and Rec in the background. That would be my wife. So.
Hey. Parks and Recreation.
So what are we going to talk about today, Victor?
Stuff. I think you got a new old car.
You can't go back and forth in your chair because it's recording.
You're
so
right.
You have to stay perfectly still.
Okay.
The entire podcast. Yes, and you have to look like that too. You have to look damn sexy.
I don't know if I can do that for an hour plus.
Really?
I don't think I can. My sexy only has like a 10-minute lifespan, and then it just turns into awkward.
I'm really good at holding good posture because I sit on a ball at work all day. So
I know that you sit on
exercise
balls on work all day.
Well, yeah, but I actually do sit on an exercise ball all day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, yeah, definitely.
No, I do.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
I'm going to take a picture, and I am going to post it on whatever website we eventually have for this.
Okay, no one needs to see pictures.
What would the domain even
of
be?
you sitting on balls.
But what would the domain even be? What is the name of the podcast? I literally just heard it.
It's the Project 0820 podcast.
082090?
Yeah, 0820.
082090?
There's no 90. 90's like for fun. 90 is how old we'll be when we stop doing the podcast.
82090 podcast. All right.
93420 podcast.
So every once in a while we're just gonna do weird looks into the camera.
Just all the time.
Oh my god, this is a catastrophe. We're literally 2 minutes in.
I'm gonna take 3 hours cutting together just all the footage and stuff.
All right.
It'll be great.
Anyway.
So, you got a new car. A new old car.
A new old car. Well, old as in 2007.
You realize that is older than, like, more people than you think now?
That is 15 years newer than the car it replaced.
That's true. Yeah.
And the car before that was actually older than I was. The car before that was a 1989 Cutlass Sierra.
I remember
somehow 100,000 miles on it when I bought it, which is absolutely amazing.
I believe your first car was the best car.
The Geo?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that wasn't my car.
I don't care.
That was my dad's car.
Because we managed to fit 6 of us in there.
Remember? So yeah, we had the Lowens, which if our one listener doesn't know who they are, that's they're
Canadians of Foley.
They're tall.
They're all tall.
They're all pretty
and Canadian.
Big. Yeah. I wonder. This scares me. I'm afraid that my computer is gonna just like stop recording because it's gonna be like. Sad panda.
If it does, mention it, and I will put this on both of us.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can do this real quick. But anyway, so my first. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna make sure real quick. Okay. I should have done this before the podcast.
Okay.
We're totally leaving all of this in. There's no way we're not leaving all of this in. No timeouts. No timeouts. No timeouts.
Timeout.
Yeah, timeout. Where was I?
Lowens,
and I think it was you, Dan, who's a bigger boy, and Nils in the back. Then it was D in the front.
Yeah, that little
sure.
Butter.
And then me driving, and every corner we went around, it bottomed out.
Yeah.
And then it at one point it had the pipe where you put the nozzle in to fill it with gas, it actually had like a hole in it. So when you filled it with gas, half of it would pour onto the ground. But I still, even with that, got like 40 miles to the gallon. Because it was a little three-banger. There was 3 cylinders in that car. When you open it up...
But.
Yeah. And so the whole thing... Oh my god, I can do this. The whole thing was like this big. Like the motor. The motor was literally... It was a Mountain Dew can.
Yeah.
That they just put some stuff in, and then it was like, it's a motor. And it was awesome. And you knew when you were speeding... Because if you're going anything over 60, you couldn't see through the rearview mirror because it would be shaking so violently that you literally couldn't see
the
through
whole car would just
it would, yeah,
shaking to pieces.
And then and then I had the Cutlass, and that thing, it had 100,000 miles on it when I bought it, and by the end of its life, well, whenever it would rain, there was a big crack in the top. And it was like those, you know, the ones that have like the faux leather on the top.
Yeah.
That cracked because it was a 1989.
Yep.
And so whenever it would rain, a bunch of water would get in the roof, and then the padding on the top would actually like come down. Oh. And so I went in my car one time with a stapler, and I just stapled the padding up.
I remember that. I remember that, the car interior.
Uh-huh. And then in the end,
Staple
though,
roof.
the like a mouse got into the wiring and made a little rat's nest. And,
Yummy.
Yeah,
you had snacks.
it did. But then what ended up happening is it would idle at about 35, 40 miles an hour. So I'd be riding my brake through town. So I got rid of that car.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and then it became a what do you call that, the crash,
A demo derby car?
a demo derby car. Yeah.
Oh God.
That's what happened to it afterwards.
Jesus.
And they won, I would bet, because that thing was...
It idled at 30.
It would be going... Yeah, you'd hit somebody going 40 miles an hour. It's going to win.
I remember... Do you remember when we were at... didn't we do this at Aaron's place? Where we took a car and, like, turned it into, like, a paintball car?
Yep,
And
I remember that.
Whose car was that?
That was
it
Tim
Tim's?
Calavig. It was
Yeah.
Tim Calavig's, and all it needed was a fuel pump.
Yeah.
And we took the whole thing apart,
Uh-huh.
got the fuel pump out. Fuel pump, we looked it up, would have cost $30, but we were all so freaking broke
Yeah.
that after all of that work, we were like, that's too much money, so I guess we're not going to do it. And it was like,
Because we knocked out like a bunch of the windows and like did a bunch of cutting.
Oh
and
yeah,
we
for
like
sure.
painted it and like put in a bunch of wire mesh and
Yeah.
made it like perfect for like a big paintball arena.
Exactly, yeah.
And paintball tank,
Mm-hmm.
and then nothing came of it.
Right, yeah, because we even put chicken wire in the
Yep.
front. Yeah,
Yep.
like we
And there was a hatch in I think one
There
of
was,
the driver's side window
because Matt
maybe.
Matt cut that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Matt cut the, like, it was kind of like a moon roof, sunroof.
Yeah,
whatever
he
you
cut
call
in
it.
a sunroof.
Yeah, and it was, yeah, that was pretty legit. That thing would have been awesome. Cause then we took some of the door trimming, cause like the sunroof obviously was disgusting, and like if you went through it,
You'd
you
probably
would
slice
die.
yourself up a
Yeah.
bunch and get tetanus.
So we took some
Yeah, I
of the
remember
door
that.
trimming off, and we put it around there. It worked perfectly.
Yep.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
yeah. It was too bad that we never actually fixed that car. You know.
Yeah, well.
And honestly, it's kind of a waste of a car.
I wouldn't say. I mean, that was we wasted a car for a night of memories to
This
last
is true, yeah.
forever.
And then do you remember the picture?
Yeah, I have him somewhere. I'll see if I can find him and I'll put him in the podcast because I had doing the Swenny.
Well, you know, we should start
Swenny pose.
We should start a BitTorrent sync for our podcast, so that people who are listening, they can pull files off of it.
Or I'll just link to it somewhere.
Sure,
That's easier.
I have a server. We can put it on my server.
And then just a link to it. Yeah,
and
it'd be
then
easy.
I have domains.
Here's a picture of Paul with his shirt off. Well, bam.
Yeah,
It's not gonna be Wabammed. It might be Wabammed.
I
don't know if I can find it.
I looked a lot better then than I do now.
It was
I don't
like
know if you know,
was it
but-
4 people? It was you, Aaron, Matt, and Mooney.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And we were.
And then I was taking the picture
We
because
were all doing the Swenson pose.
Because I'm not exactly posable. So
Yeah, but that was a good night because
posing in front of the car that we tore to pieces.
that was pretty awesome. I'm not ashamed of that picture.
I wouldn't be. Like, and then the pose you were doing too was like perfect. Like,
Well, it was the Swenson pose.
yeah,
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because Swenson had the
No, where did people see that of him? Was that like on
eHarmony?
It was on his eHarmony.
It was on his
page.
eHarmony. Yeah.
Swenson was our teacher
Mm-hmm.
in history, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he taught us history in like 9th or 10th grade or something,
Yep.
and he had an eHarmony page, and he had a picture. Was he shirtless?
Yes, he
Or
was
just,
shirtless, and he was doing this.
Yeah.
Like getting ready to kiss his bicep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that guy.
That was something else.
And then you heard all the stuff about how he quit. Did you hear about all that stuff?
No, all I knew is that he's gone. That's all I know.
Oh god. Okay, so he didn't get fired, but he definitely got one of those things where they go up to you and you say you should probably quit. Like, it was one of those things because...
Was it because he showed movies every day and didn't
No, okay, he was
teach
the
us?
movie teacher. That was very established, is that you got to watch a lot of films. The thing was, is he didn't pick awful movies. Like,
No.
and I learned actually...
Last of the Mohicans was a pretty good film.
I learned more from the movies in his class than I did the teacher who was, like, all innovative and stuff and was like, this crazy ideas over here. And it was
Yeah.
just like, I'm not absorbing anything. At least when I'm watching this movie about, like, Romans, I'm, like, paying attention.
Although, one thing, I think it was Swenson who did this. We watched Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Which is just ridiculously inaccurate.
Yeah.
And going through that movie and pointing out all the inaccuracies made me learn more than...
Yeah?
That's
cool.
And then in Gonzalo's class,
Yes.
we watched that Michael Moore film, and then we pointed out all of the they weren't exactly false, but they were definitely highly misleading or highly taken out of place.
Yeah. All that kind
I
of stuff
learned a
is
lot
always
there, too.
skewed one direction too far. Like,
Right.
all that stuff you guys.
One Direction. Too far. That's probably one of their songs.
Probably.
You took it too far.
Okay, so
baby,
Swenson ended up showing
when you asked me to
I heard
drive, you
and
made
I
me
wasn't there for this
cry.
because we were already graduated.
Yeah.
We were already long gone. He showed a film that had a rape scene in it. So during the
Yeah,
rape scene,
I
he
heard about that.
turned the sound off and he fast forwarded through it.
Sure.
And even in the movie, they didn't actually show the scene. I think they showed like some silhouettes or something. I'm not
Yeah.
even sure.
But still, you
But they zipped through it.
Skip.
Well, yeah.
movie with
But he fast forwarded through it, so it was only like up for like 10 seconds or something. And then a couple of the girls got, and so they complained, and I was just like, don't you got like better shit to worry about?
Well,
Like,
can't he find a better movie though? Come on,
I don't-
honestly.
I
like,
don't even know what movie it was.
It's okay.
Just-
Here's the thing though: is when you're doing something in a public school, people are always offended. So it's
Yeah.
better to just tread lightly than to just.
And the
be
thing
like,
is, he could have like
"Oh, fast forward."
he could have turned the projector like off, fast forwarded, and then turned it back on and hit
Sure.
play. Like,
Yeah, there were probably some much better options
Yeah.
that he could have selected there.
but I feel like he has the same attitude that I had. It's like, why is this a big deal?
yeah,
Like, who cares? And then you got like the two people, and the thing is, I guarantee you these people weren't truly offended by this. I feel like they just felt a little bit of like syndication, knowing like, ooh, here's that little satisfaction knowing I got a teacher in trouble and not the other way around.
yeah, I don't
And
know.
then he gets, let go. Well, he didn't get let go.
Yeah, but I mean,
He
it's
left
kind of a
for a
long
while.
time coming too, though. Like he wasn't
Yeah.
a great teacher.
He wasn't
But
a great teacher.
the thing too was that like if that there is a good chance if that happened to somebody else, the same outcome might not have happened.
Yeah.
Because there was, especially in the end there, I know there was a ton of hate
Yeah.
against him. But at the same time, you always gotta, especially when you're a teacher, you have to, you gotta be on the side of caution all the time.
The only satisfying part of any of this story is the fact that the lady who came in and replaced him was just an evil woman. Like, she came in and was just
Really?
awful. Yeah.
What is her name?
Was it
again?
Crochel or something?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Really?
I heard
'cause-
horror stories.
Oh, because we had her. I know I had her for a while.
I never at all.
My senior year,
What
She
class
was-
did you have that she
she
was
like
teaching?
she took over for a teacher for a little while.
Okay, because Swenson didn't leave until
Yeah,
like a
'cause
year
she-
after we were gone or 2 years after we were gone.
Because I don't know if Godzilla was out for somebody was out for a long time,
Yeah.
or was it Swanson? Because Swanson left, a long time ago.
Yeah, he left a long time.
And I think Kroschel took over for him for a little while they were like looking for somebody to replace him.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of Swenson, so then they were like, well, Kroschel wasn't that bad, so let's throw her into,
Yeah,
And
I think she was horrible. I think she was harder to deal with the younger people. Because, like, I heard that, like, the sophomores, she was, like, horrible to.
Yeah.
But that's because they're sophomores.
Yeah.
And
I would be horrible
they're little
to sophomores.
shits, and it makes sense.
But the thing, too, was, like, when I had her, she was just starting out.
Yeah.
And so you'd walk a little lighter, especially knowing that you might, this isn't a permanent position, you know?
Like, it's just funny because that just reminds me of, because we had Esser, and that was her first year teaching at that school.
I loved Esser. She was awesome.
Yeah, no, she's out on maternity leave now. She's having a baby.
Cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's one of our listeners.
I
If
doubt
you're
it.
one of our listeners, I can look at it now.
Yeah.
Let us know. Anyway,
She loved us.
she did.
We were awesome.
Remember when we went and visited her?
Yeah.
After,
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God.
Yeah,
how's
she
it
loved
going?"
it.
She's like, did you sign in? We're like, no.
Yeah.
And she's like,
What?
okay.
Whatever. I don't know. Like, the thing is that the years after we graduated, I don't think anyone really cared, but they've actually gotten a lot more strict with that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you have to sign in.
Right.
You can't even get in the building without someone seeing you, because they changed the way the layout is of the office. So the main receptionist is sitting right by the front door now.
Huh.
So you can't even get in without someone seeing you. And
Wow.
so I wanted to be a teacher for so long.
Really?
And, oh, God, a long time. But
So, like, not a professor, but just a teacher?
I would have been fine with teacher. I was definitely okay with that idea. But I experienced a portion of it, and now I'm glad I'm not going to do that. Because it's just, there's too much. It's funny because it's not even the kids.
Yeah.
Because I can deal with students. Like, that's not a big deal. Like,
Sure.
because the thing is that my attitude is very, like, it's not my job to be motivated for you. You know, like, I don't know how well I would be able to teach 6th graders, because I have to be like, so, but like high schoolers, like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you want to do well, that's on you. Like, I will give you the tools to do well, and I will help you
Yeah.
whenever you need it. Like,
The thing I've noticed with high schoolers, though, is, like, when you're young, they like you.
Yeah.
But then as you get older, they like you less and less and less. And so by the time you're done teaching, you hate kids
Yeah.
with a passion. And I think that's why, like, I know my sister's a teacher, and I'm pretty sure she wants to become
I was gonna say, you're pretty sure she's a teacher?
Well,
I hope you at least know that much.
I'm pretty sure she wants to become a professor in the future. And so, like, she's doing her thing now, but she's planning on going back to school.
Yeah.
I know that her friend that she also works with just started going to school this year to get her
Like, full teaching,
her master's.
Okay.
and then I think she's gonna go on and get her doctorate.
Okay.
And, like, the really good teachers, they're probably gonna go get their doctorates because you paid a whole lot more money,
A lot more. Yeah.
And
Like,
so
it's a big difference, like, financially, too, and stuff.
and especially too, like, as you're getting a little bit older, and you're getting kind of like 37, 38, and at that age, the kids are starting to turn on you a little bit. Like, well, with what happened to Godzilla,
Yeah.
like, Godzilla was not a bad teacher. People started hating him because he was getting older, and that's really the only reason I think that people started hating him.
I did not enjoy his teaching methods.
You didn't?
At all.
Well, because I did.
He was very new age, like, we're going to be innovative, and this is the wrong answer test, and just all this different stuff, and I was just like, I really wish he had, like, driven it in a little, like, I wish he hadn't have gone so 100% crazy. Because, like, everything was, like, this innovative way to do this and stuff. I really enjoyed being able to just speak about things and have, like, an open forum on stuff.
Sure.
Because we actually had a lot of interesting conversations. But I didn't retain anything.
Oh, really?
Like, at least when I have to study for a test, there's a chance I'll retain it because I needed to, like, teach it to myself.
I remember
Like,
that.
we never did that stuff.
I remember that Hitler's, like, okay, this was Hitler's dirty talk.
Oh, man, what?
I want to crush you. He was also
yeah.
really into hands.
I remember that.
Hands. He liked hands.
He like hands.
Hands. Yeah.
He also liked Poison. He liked Poison, the rock band
Oh.
from the 80s.
Oh, we're talking Godzilla.
Yeah.
I thought you were going on Hitler there. Like, yeah, Hitler was a huge Poison fan. Pretty sure he missed that, Victor. Pretty sure he killed himself in a bunker like he should have.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. Hitler actually survived and learned the secret to eternal youth. So he's my neighbor. Sorry.
Big Poison fan.
No, back to the teaching thing. It's like I enjoy the biggest thing I would gain from teaching, because I directed and instructed drumline for 2 years.
Sure.
And I really enjoyed being able to teach something and actually to watch the students then come back the next week and know how to do it.
Yeah.
Like I'd see them learning. Like that's awesome, you know? But the politics with the parents isn't worth it.
Yep.
Not even close.
Especially considering that you're expected to, like, especially when it comes to like sex ed kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like you're really expected to be a second parent to these kids.
It's
and
just
to teach them like morality, and each parent doesn't have the same opinion on morality.
It's just frustrating to deal with. You get an email from a parent who just rips into you and like saying you're ruining a program or something and you are the downfall of da 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 da. And I just like, it's almost like comical because you're sitting here reading it and it's just like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason I'm teaching this and you're not.
But you know,
like,
I wonder how many of it was the parent actually being mad and how much of it was kids complaining to their parents about something really stupid.
That's
and
the
then
funny
the
thing
parent
too.
Making up like this whole backstory to it that didn't.
I think that's
happen.
kind of a generational thing too, because when I was, okay, so just using drumline as an example, like when I was in drumline in 2007, it was fucking hard. Like every single practice at the end, you'd be dead. And you'd go home and you'd go into coma sleep and then wake up the next day and go to school.
Right.
So like you'd just be exhausted, and it was a lot of work and it was super hard. But because it was so hard, because it was so stressful, because you sat there worrying about it, like, but the thing is you made it, like you sat there and you wanted to work hard because you were pushed hard. Yeah. Kind of thing. So by the end of it, you ended up doing well. Like that's the thing. Whereas jump to 2012, where the kids are pushed hard and their immediate thing is to go home and complain to their parents that it's too hard.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's...
And they know to... And then they can email someone and complain.
But I don't know if that's necessarily a generational thing or just like a personal thing. Because
I don't know.
Because the people who went into drumline to begin with, like Lexi and Carissa and you guys and you know, like they were all kind of like super committed. Yeah. And you were committed a lot because you were creating something new. The kids who are coming into it now, it's like extracurricular activity. And then
there's
like,
a lot less
this
kids.
Is hard. And you know, I think if drumline had been there for a while, because drumline got pretty popular, didn't it?
No.
Oh.
No, it never did.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, drumline didn't get pretty popular, didn't it? Anyway, but like I think different people are more willing to come in after it's been going on for a little while, you know what I mean?
Because what ended up happening, I think part of it was you had your first 3 years where you had this really committed group of students who were seeing it brought back, because the Foley program didn't even have a drumline for a long period of time.
Yeah, how long?
There was like 10 years. Oh. Like there was like one in like 2002. No, it wasn't 10 years. There was one in 2001, I think, and then it came back in 2006. So it might have been like a 5-year break, unless I'm thinking of like 90 something. I don't know. But
that was a sad burp.
But when it came back, the students that enrolled with it were all very like, this is this new thing, and I really want to push to to win and to have fun and really enjoy this and kind of stuff. Jump to 2012. And the ratio's way off. It's like a third of the kids are like super committed and really love what they're doing, and the other 2/3 are friends of the kids who are committed and brought them in and was just like, you should really do this with me. And then they came in and realized, oh crap, I was speaking when I wasn't supposed to be. Now I have to do 40 push-ups. I'm gonna sit and bitch, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, no, that's how it worked.
Yeah.
It's like it was like drill sergeant like stuff. Like you don't talk out of turn. Like you work when you're supposed to work. If you're not, you sit and you do push-ups.
Isn't that kind of part of every drumline? Is because
no, yeah, it's pretty normal.
Yeah,
it's not
because
weird.
a drumline is all about order and
it's a lot of like military precision kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And very like and it's tough to kind of get those ideals onto kids who aren't there. Who aren't there wanting it. Like they're there because they want to have fun. And the thing is and my brother, he had a really good example of this happening because he, while I was doing drumline stuff, he was wrapping up. He had just graduated from high school and then he started doing drama stuff. So what he ended up doing was teaching. What is it? He was doing the one act play. And he had the issue with the one act play where he had a split in the cast because half the people were very gung-ho, we want to win this year, blah, blah, blah. And the other half were very gung-ho, we want to have a lot of fun this year.
Right.
So it was two very positive mentalities, but two very different mentalities.
Right. And one of them was going to work, and the other one wasn't.
Yeah, and the thing is, with the two groups split, they weren't working together. So the two groups weren't working together. So one day he came in, and he was just to his breaking point. So are you going to sneeze again?
No,
but
I was just kind of giggling to myself because I just documented me sneezing.
Yeah.
So later I'm going to
watch it back later.
And I'm going to be like, I look really ugly when I sneeze.
Doesn't everybody though?
I look really ugly when I sneeze.
I think everybody looks ugly when they sneeze. Yeah. So my brother came to these kids who had this big divide in their group and said, okay, here's the ultimatum. Here's like the bottom line is I have no problem driving you guys and keeping you guys motivated and pushing you so that we have a winning season kind of thing.
Sure.
I also have no problem making this a blast and having a lot of fun, but probably not making it past sectionals, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like he said, he's like, I am totally down with one or the other, but it is not working having half you guys not give a shit about working hard but having fun and the other half only worrying about working hard and stuff. So he basically told them, it's like, I'm going to go down the hall, I'm going to grab a Diet Mountain Dew, I'm going to come back. When I come back, you better have something figured out because otherwise I'm done.
Did they?
Yeah, no, and they came back and they ended up doing really well that year.
Awesome.
So it was just like, woo, ultimatum talk worked.
Nice, yeah.
Way to go. But like, the thing is at the bottom line, in that scenario at least, you did have a group of 30 kids. And one act, they actually end up cutting people because you're only allowed so many students. So, so you had a group by the end of it, you had 30 students, they all wanted to be there.
Right.
They may have wanted it for different reasons, but at the end of the day, when they had to sit down and decide how we're going to go about the season, they were able to come to the conclusions like, no, we want to work hard, we want to do well, we want to leave this year saying, look at this, I got second place at state or something.
Right.
So, whereas the drumline stuff is very much, well, the only reason I'm in this is because my two friends are in it.
Right.
And I don't want to have to, work my butt off for 5 hours on a Sunday. And there's a lot of, laziness and just frustration. And that, in turn, is more frustrating on the instructors and the people in charge. Because the only reason they're there, we were getting paid so little.
Yeah.
I got $200 for a whole season. And then, the other instructors got $100, I think. And this is more money and more time. This is more time spent than anything else we're doing. You might spend more time working on drumline stuff than you do a part-time job.
Yeah.
And you're getting paid nothing.
But my sister she's an assistant speech coach.
Yeah.
At Elk River.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't getting any money for it for a while. And they went to the board and said, I'm not going to help if I don't get paid this year. I've been doing it because I've been expecting, she's been doing it because she kind of wanted to get into it a little bit. And she was expecting at some point she would start getting paid, and they're just not. And so they're going to do fundraising, and if the kids can't make enough money, she's not going to do it. So...
Yeah, the problem is a lot of the arts
programs, they don't get big funds like
Right.
like
But, you know-
speech and drama.
Yeah, and you know where all the money goes is sports, which
Yeah.
is stupid.
no, the
because
football teams get these
okay,
huge
but, like,
budgets and
being able to speak in front of a large crowd, that's going to help you a lot in your actual career.
Yeah.
It's worth a lot more to be able to talk in front of a crowd or to know how to work extremely well in a fine precision group.
Yeah.
Than, well, but you could say that with sports too. That to work in a group is really important. But there's enough group things.
I think with more with more direct stuff though, like honestly, like I feel like you gain a lot more like I mean, yeah, if you do like speech or something like that, like you actually might end up gaining skills that could benefit you in the real world as opposed to football, which will not do that.
No.
Unless you just are really good and
Yeah.
end up in the NFL.
But
or
how
something.
many people are really
The percentage of that is so low though.
Right.
Yeah, like I mean
Yeah.
maybe 0.5%
Exactly.
of
And so
high school football players do anything with it.
So honestly, there's more educational value to speech and all this, but according to the school system, there's not because they're not putting money into it.
Well, the thing is the schools also get money back from basketball games they host and football games they host.
But they also
and-
get like doing a speech meet. You can get quite a bit of money out of doing a speech meet.
Yeah, but you can only think about like a football season. One football season, you could end up hosting half a dozen or more football games, whereas you'd probably only host one speech meet in a season.
But then I'd have to ask you, where does all that money end up going? Does it end up actually going into the entire school system, or does most of it just get funneled back into football?
Most of it probably goes back into football, honestly.
Yeah, you know, and honestly, like, our education system, I mean, I'm not saying that sports should go away. Because
No.
sports is a good thing, but within our education system, we put way too much value on sports. And in my opinion, it's really dumb. I think we should put a lot more value on actually educating people
Yeah.
with things that, you know, will have long-term advantages.
Yeah.
You know? Like Knowledge Bowl, that would have tons of long-term advantages.
Well,
Speech.
like debate, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff too, which
Yeah.
we saw.
Learn how to be a dick, which if you're going to be a boss, you got to learn how to be a dick.
Yeah.
So,
And
debate.
that's its whole extracurricular thing. Learn how to be a dick club.
You know what club I would have joined, or what extracurricular activity I would have joined?
Guitar Hero Club. Sorry, that was a thing. Keep going.
I was going to say board game. How fucking cool would it be to have board games? So you play like Risk, and then Axis and Allies, and then Settlers of Catan, and then you guys all got together, like your group, or you got into like small groups of however large or small, so if you wanted to do it by yourself, you could, and you made your own game. Sweet.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if that holds up a better argument than football though.
How not?
Because what are you gaining from
Strategy.
You learn. Oh, think about how much strategy you learn in like football.
Advanced planning.
Football. You do that in football too.
How to be a nerd.
Oh, well, you can do that.
How to be
at home.
awesome.
That's okay. Well, if we're gonna just throw in that kind of stuff, then
Okay, fine.
Guitar
fine,
Hero Club.
Fine. But you make the game somehow educational or something.
I'll just get your face.
All right. So,
Face. So
Good
you got a
one.
new car.
yeah.
Yeah.
Should we get back to that?
Yeah, well, we're full circle here, sort of.
So, my car.
Yeah. So the new car you have? Let's hear on that.
Oh, so the new car I have is a 2007 Aveo.
That's not bad at all.
It has 100,000 miles on it.
That's bad.
That's not that bad.
That's kind of bad.
100,000?
Yeah.
I'll get another 100
The
out
thing
of it.
is, older cars can do that. Newer cars, not as much.
What?
Yeah.
You really
They're all
think-
made of fucking plastic parts and shit. Like,
Not the engine.
yeah, the engine. No, not the engine.
No, I don't know. I think because
The thing is, you can drive a car from 1985 all the way to almost the year 2000. Like, you see a lot of that shit happening. But, like, the cars from the year 2000 are broken now. They're fucking done. Like,
I don't know.
You see
We'll have to
very
see.
few of them.
We'll have to see because my dad has a 2005 Aveo and
Okay.
my mom has a 2008 Aveo.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Is Just
So-
like Aveos.
Well, they're really cheap,
Yeah.
so it kind of worked out. The thing is, I bought it because my parents have them, and so my dad knows those cars up and down.
Yeah.
So, like between me and him, we can pretty much fix anything on that car.
Yeah.
And that's
helpful.
That was a big plus. It's 2007, like I said, with 100,000 miles, and I got it for $2,100.
That's amazing. Plus.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The reason I got it for $2,100.
Whose dick did you suck?
there's the tires are worn, kind of funny.
Okay.
Like this.
How do you even do that?
That was a good one. That was a good one.
How do you have a wave on the tires?
So the rear shocks, they were going out, so the
Okay.
tire would kind of vibrate like
okay.
this because the shocks would give easier.
So it would drive unevenly and just...
So it would drive unevenly,
Yeah.
so then it would wear the tires
Okay.
oddly. That will slowly wear away because he had replaced the rear shocks in the car.
Okay.
So that was fixed.
So that'll fix itself as the tire starts to wear down normally now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it has an overhead cam in it, which means that if it has a belt, it has a timing belt on it, and if that timing belt slips or breaks or whatever, the car is shot immediately.
Oh.
Because I'm pretty sure what happens is that the pistons get off and then they'll like freaking slam into things that they're not supposed to, and so your engine's broken.
That's
if
fucked.
that happens.
Yeah.
So you need to replace that every 60,000 miles. He replaced it at 80, which is a good thing because it didn't break
Yeah.
all the way up to 80, and then he replaced it, and now that it has 100, that timing belt only has
It only has 20,000
20,000 miles on
So
it.
you don't got to replace them for another 40.
Right.
Yeah.
40 or, my dad said just go 80 because it'll make it. So I'll probably just wait till 160 before I replace the timing belt again. You're also supposed to replace the water, or the is it water pump? I think so. At
Yeah.
the same time.
We know nothing about cars.
Well, I know a little bit.
I don't know very much.
And so he did that.
That sounds right.
He did that. He put new brakes in it. Like me and my parents figured it out when they got home, and they said that that guy probably put like $2,000 plus into that car. And so like to
2,000
him,
plus to sell it? Like...
well, $2,000 plus just for maintenance on
Okay.
that car.
Yeah.
So to him, it just seemed like it was a freaking money well. It just kept eating his money up. And the thing was, he didn't know how to work on a car. So he brought it in every time,
Yeah.
which makes it a whole lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And so, like, me and my dad, we know how to make things do.
Yep.
So,
I make go.
we were fine. And then the thing, too, was that it also had a bad front wheel bearing.
Okay.
And the guy didn't know that. He was like, it's really loud. I think it's because of the tires. And then we got in the car, and my dad had 2 wheel bearings go out on him.
Uh-huh.
So I knew exactly what it sounded like. And as soon as I started driving the car, I was like, yeah, I think it's the front left here. I think that wheel bearing's out, huh, Dad? My dad was like, yeah, it's definitely a wheel bearing. And the guy was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he wanted 24. I offered him 2,000. And then we ended up at 21 because he dropped pretty quickly. And I
Yeah.
think it's because of the wheel bearing that he dropped pretty quickly. Thing was, the wheel bearing only costs $30.
Yeah.
However,
The thing is
it
to
took
take it in.
to take it, if you took it in, it would cost you $400 or $500 to
Yeah.
replace it. And the reason is because it's an all-day job.
Yeah.
Like, on most cars, when you buy a new wheel bearing, they give you a whole like assembly
Yeah.
with the wheel bearing already pressed in, and all you have to do is replace a couple bolts. Done. Okay. With that car, there's no separate assembly. It's all part of the whatever wheel holdy thing,
Okay.
which is made of cast iron.
Yeah.
Anyway, so so you have to get the bearing out, and it's pressed in, so friction is holding it in place, which
Yeah.
means that it's in there.
Yeah.
So we devised this. It was a pipe that was threaded, and then we put a bolt on one side, and then we put a bunch of sockets on the other side, and then there's a big metal chunk here, and then you slowly spun a bolt right here, and then they would slowly pull it out.
Oh my gosh.
It took 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours to get the old bearing out alone. Like, granted, if we had a good torch, we could have heated up the holdy thing.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm gonna call it. very technical term.
Very, yes.
We could have heated that up, and then as long as we heated it up quick enough, it wouldn't heat up the bearing, which would then we could pull it out then because it would have expanded enough that we could have gotten the bearing out a little easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were using like an impact wrench for like 20 minutes, just not coming.
Yeah.
So then after all that, we finally get this wheel bearing out, right? And then my dad grabs this crappy little torch, it's like this tall and it's got the little thing on it,
Yeah.
And we heat that thing for like 20 minutes and we get it pretty hot, right? And my dad, we took the bearing and threw that in the freezer and then grabbed the bearing from the freezer and my dad just went and it just slips right in like nothing. And I was like, for real? We spent 2.5 hours getting out there.
Yeah.
Come on. So yeah, but it was nice that it went in that quickly.
Yeah.
And then
You don't got to spend another 2 hours putting it in.
yeah, and then next you have to put another thing that was in the freezer. Because then what we were planning on is that the heat from the holdy thingy would heat up the bearing enough so that the bearing would expand. And then you take the last piece, which is the piece that is connected to the tire, and then you have to push that into the bearing.
Yeah.
And that's the last part. And my dad started sliding it in, and then it stopped, and he was like, oh, fuck. And he grabs a rubber hammer and just starts beating on it, and I'm like, no, that's a new bearing, stop.
No, in.
But you only have so much time. You let that sit there, it's going to heat up, and then it's going to expand, then nothing's going to move,
Yeah.
So we beat it in, and he got it in there, and then I turned it, and it went, and I was like, he was like, well, mine did that. Let's press it all together. Because what he did when he was beating on it is he kind of pulled the bearing apart. Yeah. It's kind of like, it should still work. Let's see. So then we put our contraption that pulled everything apart. We put that on there kind of backwards and then started tightening the bolt to pull everything back together.
Yeah.
And then by the time we had everything pulled back together, you turned that wheel and it was just smooth. So I was like, oh, okay, thank God. And then then we put everything back together in the whole front wheel area, so the brakes and the disc and all that crap, and put the new tire on, and it was nice and quiet.
It does sound like an all-day job, though.
Oh yeah, it was definitely an all-day
pretty big
job.
undertaking.
It's definitely an all-day job when you have to pay your dad by baling hay afterwards.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, no, that would do it.
Yeah. Luckily, there was only like 40 bales, so it was really easy.
Only 40 bales.
No, they were. It was really easy. So yeah, that worked out pretty well.
I changed my oil once.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I did once on my, was it the Cirrus? No, it was my old Grand Am.
Do you remember when we changed the spark plugs in your... Happy birthday, Victor, where Go Get Tools?
Oh.
You
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah, no, kind of. I remember that, like,
Yeah.
we're Go Get Tools, but what were we doing?
We were changing the spark plugs in my Cutlass Sierra.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember
And like the spark plugs up front, because there was 3 in the front, and then there were 3 behind the engine in the back.
Yeah.
Which is just like, why do you hate me? Why are you doing this?
So you can bring it in and give money to the mechanics.
Yeah, because you basically, like, if you wanted to get to it, you had to basically take out the engine.
Yeah.
Anyway, what we ended up doing is we ended up putting like 8 joints together in order to kind of finagle it in there, and then somehow Matt got the old ones out, and then I think I've kind of just got them finger tight, and then Matt somehow got it a little tighter, and I was like, good enough.
They'll go.
Yeah, so.
And it didn't explode.
No, it didn't. Not really. Yeah, that car was. I don't know if I ever told you. Okay, so one time.
Oh man. Story.
I was driving down the road.
Okay.
And I was like, huh, you know what would be fun? To go blue. Now, I need to explain. My car speedometer went from like 0, 30, and it was like one of those flat ones, you know, where it was like, here's a baton, and
Okay.
here. Okay. So it went 0, 30, like 30 was about here, 60 is about here, and like 75 is here, and then 85 is over here, and then there's a blue line.
Okay.
I was going very blue because it was like that. Anyway, all of a sudden my car starts shaking, and I was like, I better slow down. So I let off the gas, and I looked behind me. Gigantic plume of white smoke just all behind me, and I'm like,
man.
was that from my car? So I slowed it. I'm like, okay, don't slam on the brakes.
No.
Because
You'll die. You'll crash.
who knows what's going on?
Just ease it, like
just,
very slow,
yeah,
gentle.
just hi brake, how's it going?
Don't pop off and kill me.
So I slowed way down, and pulled off on like this farm road thing, like the entrance to a field kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I get out of my car, and I look at the tire, and it's like that on one side, and I'm like, what?
Ugh.
How was I not shaking more? Then I walk around to the other side. No tire, just a rim.
Oh.
Just a rim with just like a little bit of tire
Oh,
on the
no
rim.
wonder.
And I was like,
white smoke.
where did my tire go?
It's over there, and over there, and over there.
Yeah, it blew on me. God knows going how fast, but that car was such a monster. It was so big
Yeah.
that it just hardly shook the car.
You got lucky.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't go that fast. Well, remember the time we were driving your Mustang?
Yeah.
About 135.
That was fun.
And then I hit a bump and got a little air, and I was like, I better slow down.
I remember Matt and I were going to. Oh god, where were we? Where was Mooney living at?
Oh, in Glenville?
Mayville.
Mayville.
Was that it?
Yep.
Yeah. And we were like, it was like blizzard, like nasty snow, ice everywhere. And Matt's like, "Can I drive?" And I was like, "Fine."
What?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that day. So it's like crappy weather. And then Matt's like, I think we can get there in under an hour. And I was just like, all right. And just,
Oh, no.
just gone, It wasn't too bad. We, leaving was a little trickier. Because, real, like, cars got power, rear wheel drive. And, and a foot of snow. So, it was like... like, and once we got going, it was fine. But
Yeah.
to get out of town was tricky.
Right, yeah.
But
I remember one time I was in the Toyota Corolla, and I think I was...
wasn't that your last car?
Yeah.
That's when it died.
Yeah.
Hurt.
I don't... Should I tell... I'll tell the tales of my Toyota Corolla.
Oh man.
So, that car, in the end, was held together
Duct tape and glue.
with wire.
Bubble gum.
There was literally wire on there.
Okay.
There might have been some glue in there. There probably was some duct tape. I wouldn't doubt it. I think there was. Yeah. One time, Amy was getting out of the car, and she couldn't get the door open. The reason she couldn't get the door open was because the metal frame in front of the door was bent into the door, stopping her from being able to open the door.
Oh.
So I was like, here, just let it, and I just basically, like, kicked it open.
Yeah.
Bent the shit out of it. And I was like, meh, whatever. One time, me and Amy were driving down the road, and a semi went past us, and the hood came flying up.
Oh, jeez.
What had happened is the latch stayed latched. It wasn't the latch.
Did it, like, rip off the thing?
Oh yeah, it was so rusted off.
Oh, God.
Where the latch was connected was so rusted that it just like ripped it up.
That'd be terrifying.
Yeah, so I drove about 45 miles an hour all the way home. Well, what ended up happening was the rip cord, the pull cord to unlatch it.
Yeah.
That actually like ripped off because it went in, so it came around. So there's the front of the car, it came around the front of the car, and then here's the tire, then it went over the tire, and then it went into the compartment, right? Well, that rip down got caught on the tire, and the tire ripped it apart.
Yeah. That would do
So I just had like a little bit of wire left. So I pulled it out, cut it, put a screw into my bumper, and then just tied it to the bumper. So when I wanted to pop the hood, I just walked to the front of the car, pull it, and then there we go. I'm in the front. The little thing to hold up.
It's probably easier.
Yeah, the little thing to hold up your the hood. that came out. So whenever I wanted to hold it up, I would grab it out of my back seat, put it in place. When I was done, I'd throw it in the back seat.
Whatever.
Let's see what else. Oh, I think somebody was trying to get into my car because we've had issues with somebody going through cars that are unlocked.
Yeah.
And like the door didn't open. It wouldn't open even if it was unlocked. But the thing was up, so I think the guy thought it was unlocked. So he kept pulling on it, and he just broke the freaking door handle off.
Oh Jesus.
So that happened. Let's see what else happened. There's more. Oh yeah, how could I forget?
Oh.
So whenever it would rain, the battery would completely discharge.
Why?
So me and fuck if I know. So me and my dad.
Your battery just doesn't like bad weather.
Yeah. So
Makes me sad. I don't want to run.
So me and my dad took jumper cables, cut off the ends, so it was just
This
the
is
wire.
already a horrible story.
We then took the wire, went from the battery negative terminal into the cab, and then a house light switch, and then back to where it would connect to the negative. And technically we could have just wired it to like anything metal on the car, because everything metal on the car is ground.
Yeah.
However, like it was kind of like, well, you know, that's kind of a lot to put through my chair, so let's just go back to where it should be.
Yeah.
But then I broke my light switch because my car wasn't starting one day, so I decided to put 50 amps, like the hey, start my car now thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that went through the light switch. Those are capable of taking 15 amps, not 50.
Yeah, not 50.
And like we would pull about 24 through there when you started the car,
Yeah.
but then it would drop down to about 12.
Yeah.
And so it was capable of handling like a surge for a little bit, but when you stressed it could not do that.
So light switch go boom.
Light switch in car.
Light
No,
switch
it
go-
just didn't go boom. It just
go melt.
quit working.
Just quit working.
Yeah, it just totally quit working. Yeah, that car.
It sounds like it was a trooper for its lifespan.
Yeah,
It went through quite a bit.
it did. And then and then in the end, really all that was wrong with it. Well, not all that was wrong with it.
Yeah.
By the
The
sound.
thing that killed it.
But what ended up, why I got rid of it was, like that car was, the motor was fine. Like the motor ran pretty well.
Yeah.
But it was a little shaky. The car was pretty shaky. And I don't think an alignment was going to take care of it. I think there was some tie rod issues going on. And then an idler was going out, which is all it is it's just an extra pulley to hold a belt in
Okay.
place. And when an idler goes out, you know it because it screams at you like a dying child,
Oh.
but like a dying child with a lot of energy. So
like
because it's like
it's really upset about dying.
like you know in the winter when your car makes horrible noises because it's so cold,
Yep.
that squealing high pitch, that's your idler.
Just all the time.
Yeah. and but that mine would do it all the time. Oh, and the power steering would always go out when it was cold, like just when it got
But you
anywhere
need
near
that
cold.
to go.
Well, you don't need it. It was a Toyota Corolla. It weighed about the same as a Geo Metro.
I suppose.
So, but
It's like time to go left.
yeah. No, now Amy's power steering likes to go out. Like this winter, it went out.
She's got a bigger car though, doesn't
yeah.
she?
Oh, it sucked.
Yeah.
She got freaking. She beat me up in the middle of winter. There, she was so strong from turning that freaking steering wheel. No, it was like. I don't know, it was like. It was hard. It was hard to turn.
I had my first car was a Pontiac Grand Am. It was a '96, and I ended up during a blizzard. I ended up backing into a ditch, and yeah, it was pleasant. And I tried, like, the thing is, it was just my rear wheels.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't, like, really into the ditch, but it was a blizzard, and there was already a ton of snow. So, like, I'm jacking on the wheel, and I'm trying to just get a little bit of traction and get up, and I'm just, like, go back a little and forward, and just easing it as much as I can. Not happening. Finally, someone with a truck happened to drive by, and they had a tow rope, and they pulled me out back onto the road. So I was like, well, thank you, and
Mm-hmm.
they left. And then when I went to get back into the car to leave to go home, and I was like 6 miles from home or something, power steering is completely dead. So it's just like, so in my attempts to get it out of the ditch, I just ripped it apart, and
Yeah.
that was the final nail in the coffin of that car, because
Yeah.
that car had 300,000 miles on it, and it was just
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, it was dead.
What kind of car was it?
It was a Pontiac Grand Am.
Okay. Huh.
No, that was my dad's work car, because he would drive to the cities every day
Is
to
that
go
that
to
black
work.
one?
No.
Oh.
It was like maroon.
Huh.
That was my first
Oh,
one.
yeah, I remember that.
After that I had a Chrysler Cirrus that was okay. It wasn't,
Do you
it was bad. It didn't work.
do you remember Mark's first car?
The boat is his boat.
The big black boat.
Yeah, the big black boat.
What the hell kind of car was that? Was it a Caddy?
Is it a Bonneville?
It was a
It was a
Bonneville.
Bonneville.
It was a Bonneville.
Yeah. No, my Chrysler Cirrus decided to just not shift gears,
Oh.
just on the fly, because why not? So we actually had brought the transmission in. We brought it in to get the transmission.
Was it a
looked at.
manual?
No.
Oh, okay. So it was just the automatic transmission.
Yeah.
Quit.
And we brought it in a couple times, and they'd look at it and they'd do some fixes, and they wouldn't fix it and stuff. And I'd sit there and I would stay in first gear.
Right.
It wouldn't go up to second. So it's
Yep.
just like, wow, look, I'm doing 500,000 RPM at 40 miles an hour. That's not safe.
Yeah.
And
No, not at all.
finally, I had the whole transmission rebuilt. Cost like $600,
Wow.
and it still had the problem. And then I brought it in again to someone else, different people, and they were like, "Yeah, no, like it's a computer thing. We can fix it. It'll take like an hour, and it'll be like $100, and it'll work fine." And it's just like, really? I had the transmission rebuilt,
Wow.
and for 6 times that, and it's just like, and I got rid of that car right after that anyway.
Huh.
So it's just like, fuck this.
Huh.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, cars suck.
Then I got a Mustang, and everything was honky dory.
Uh-huh.
That was amazing.
Until you got your car insurance bill.
Yeah, no.
'Cause-
Tabs
'cause
on
what?
that were $300.
How old were you?
Car, I was. Let's see, it was 2010, so I was 20.
Yeah, so you're a 20-year-old.
I was a 20-year-old with a
With a muscle
2010
car.
Mustang in 2010, brand new.
And you were single. You weren't married.
I was, yeah, it was fun.
You literally couldn't have had a bigger car insurance bill.
No, it was bad. It was like the only thing that helped me out was it was not a soft top. It was a hard top. So they were like, "Oh, we don't get to check that box. Okay, your car insurance is only $300 a month." Fuck.
Yeah. Really? Was that all it was?
I think it was like $360 a month.
No way.
Yeah.
That's what I was paying a month for my crappy cars.
$360 a month.
Oh, a month.
A month. Not over 6 months. A month. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, I would have sold that car a long time.
Well, the thing is, when I ended up selling it, I got 2 cars out of it. I sold it and got 2 used cars.
Oh, that's kind of
So
nice.
that worked out pretty well.
They're probably nicer than the car that I have right now. Oh, speaking of that, the car I have right now, lots of hail damage.
Great,
Yeah, but I
Pleasant.
don't care.
I
This
suppose.
is a cosmetic thing.
Well, the thing is, if you spend $2,000 on a car, it's got some hail damage, but it runs fine. It's like,
and
fuck it.
and it's newer than 15 years old.
Does it have a CD player?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does it have an auxiliary jack?
Yeah, it has a
Then you're
USB
set.
thing too.
Yeah.
Because the guy it didn't, but then to sell it,
Did he put in like a decent car stereo
yeah,
kind of thing?
yeah.
Okay.
It does not have air conditioning.
Oh.
Yeah, but
That's not a big deal right now.
yeah, but I've
in 8 months.
I've also dealt with cars without air conditioning for quite a while. So
yeah. Again,
it doesn't-
there's an overlooming thing. It's like $2,000.
yeah,
Can't really complain.
No.
Like, and you had to pay $30 to
it's
fix that one
also
thing.
a manual, but I like manual cars.
Yeah.
So that,
Well, you're used to that though, because
yeah,
you're.
because I learned on a manual.
What car was the Geo was a manual, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and then both of my parents' Avios are manuals.
Yep.
So most of my life have actually been, well, no, that's not true, because none of my cars before this one have been manuals. But
Yeah.
I learned on a manual, and I took my test on a manual, so I'm pretty used to them.
I was gonna take my test with my dad's Grand Am because that was a car he ended up just giving me once I got my license.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to. My dad's like, no, you can't use that car to take the test. And I was like, why? This is the one I've been practicing with. Like, this is the one I'm used to.
Yeah.
And it's a small car and it's easy to park
Sure,
and everything.
yeah.
And he's like, well, you know that big crack in the windshield? Yeah, that's not okay. Like, they
Yeah.
won't let you take a test. And then the fact that
Yeah, they won't. That's right.
the emergency brake was busted.
Oh.
So instead, what it was my dad had a vice grip, and he had that clamped onto the thing because the handle was just gone.
Sure.
So if I needed to e-brake, I could just reach down and grab it and yank on it, and that's like, yes,
Vice grips.
safety.
That is totally that's something I would do.
Yeah, no, it was a little janky. It worked though, and
Yeah.
I never had to use it, not even once,
Huh.
because I was a good driver.
Nice.
I am a good driver.
Yes.
Have you got a ticket?
I've never had a ticket. I've
Have you
gotten
gotten
pulled over. I've
Okay.
gotten pulled over 3 times, all of which I was 16 years old when it happened.
Why? No, I was with you one time. I'm pretty sure.
No, I was alone every single time.
Were you?
Yeah.
No, maybe I'm thinking of someone else. I'm thinking of someone else.
You're thinking of Aaron Woolard.
Aaron gets pulled over every 5 minutes.
Because one time we were driving
drove
with
like
him,
a jackass.
and we were driving his dad's car, or his dad's truck.
Yeah.
And the running lights were on, and he was driving with the running lights on, but he never turned his actual lights on, and so he didn't have tail lights. And a cop pulled him over.
There's
right
your
away.
problem.
No, the 3 times I got pulled over, one time I was going to Aaron Woolard's house, and I was on County Road 4 going out of Foley, going
South?
east.
East.
4, County Road 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
going
4 doesn't go south. I'm stupid.
No.
Ron, like 6 goes south.
Right.
You were taking 4 to 6, probably?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, and right after the curve, how you're like, I want to go 60,
Yeah.
but it's still 30 forever.
Yeah.
I was going 41, and the cop pulled me over, and he was like, you know how fast you're going? And, like, here's the thing. I was going probably 50 when I went around the corner. I realized I was going 50, and I went, oh, shit, I need to slow down. Pushed in the clutch, saw a car coming. I was like, hope that's not a cop. It was a cop.
Yeah. Like,
So
and then,
I
you-
was
then you do
thinking-
the look in the rearview mirror, whips
Yeah.
are shitty, you're just like, damn it.
So, in my mind, I was like, totally going to tell this cop truth, going to tell him I just kind of spaced out, and I pushed in the clutch, and I saw you, and honestly, I kind of hoped you weren't a cop. Ha ha ha. What actually ended up happening is I was like, no, I didn't know I was speeding. I didn't know at all. I was just playing dumb. And he was like, well, you're like the 4th person I pulled over on this road. And I already gave 2 tickets tonight, so
just get the hell
go
outta
slower. He was like, 55 starts up there. Most people want to go fast here, so I'll let it go. But just slow down. And I think a lot of the reason was because I was 16 years old.
here. Yeah.
Like, you just learned how to drive. Slow the fuck down. Next time, we went to Wicker Man. Do you remember that? We actually went to the Covenant, and it was a horrible movie, and then we stole the Wicker Man. Do you remember that?
we stole the Wicker Man. Yes. I remember this.
Yes. So then, after that, we went home, and
Who were you with?
it was me, Annie, Evan,
Yeah.
Dee, and you. And then you didn't want to steal the Wicker Man, so you went home.
I went home, yeah.
Yes.
Because I remember I wasn't there.
Yes.
I went home.
Yes, because you didn't want to steal
I'm not
the
a
Wicker Man.
thief.
I am.
For those of you
So-
listening.
So then after we did that, I went to Noodles and Company Woodles. Anyway.
Shameless plug. We are sponsored by Noodles and Company. We're not.
No,
I wish we were.
we're not
Sponsor
sponsored by
us.
anyone. But anyway, so I got in my car, and it was at Subway. I was in the Geo Metro, and I started driving away. Well, they have all those overhead lights.
I remember
And
this.
I
I
didn't
saw
know
you
my
get pulled over.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, no, I remember this.
Okay.
Because we were at, yeah, no, I remember this.
Anyway, so then I get in my car, and I start driving, and I didn't have my lights on. But it was so freaking bright from all the overhead lights because it was
Yeah.
by, like, the Subway there.
Because I saw
Which
you
it
guys
was a
get pulled
Subway at
over.
the time. And then he pulled me over. He's like, I almost hit you. And I was like, I'm sorry. All the overhead lights, I really didn't know that my lights weren't on until I got a little further away. And he was like, well, you need to turn your lights on. It should be the first thing you do. And he was determined to get me on drunk driving because he thought I was hammered. Tells me to get out of the car. Or no. I was sitting in the car, and he's like, smell something on your breath. You know what that would be?
Popcorn?
And I said, I don't know, probably goldfish snacks, because that's what I just ate. And he's like, am I smelling something from the car then? I was like, the only thing you're smelling from the car is grease, because this is my dad's work car. And he's like, license and registration. So I start digging through. My fucking jerk ass dad doesn't have the freaking insurance card in the car.
Yeah.
He has it in his pocket, in his wallet.
Yeah.
That he borrows. You know, he borrows this car to me all the time. And I've
Yeah.
been driving around without insurance. So I keep giving him some, and they're all expired. And he's like, you don't have insurance, do you? I was like, I guarantee you I have insurance. This is my dad's car. There's no way there's not insurance on this
Yeah.
car. But it's a Geo Metro that's rusted out as shit. It looks like the kind of car that wouldn't have insurance on it. So I'm like, I guarantee you there is insurance on this car. He's like, get out of the vehicle. So I get out of the vehicle. And he's like, all right, I'm going to make you do the breathalyzer. And he's like, all right, you're just going to blow into this thing. And I start blowing, and then he starts telling me everything he's going to do to me when I blow numbers. We're going to bring you in. We're going to have to get your fingerprints. We're going to call your parents. They're going to have to come and get you. Blah, blah. And then I blow all zeros.
Yeah.
Because I've never drank at this point.
Uh-huh.
I'm 16.
Yeah.
And then I blow all zeros, and he's like, all right, you can go. And I was just like, because I didn't. Well, I mean, he could have said you need to have. He could have gotten me on some things.
He could have given you a ticket for not having insurance information.
Yep.
Like, and not having the lights on.
But all you have to do is go to the police station or the courthouse or whatever, and then prove that you have insurance, and then they'll waive that fee.
Yeah.
It's like $200, but if you go in there and say, no, see, I have insurance, I just didn't have it on me because that happens, then you don't have to pay it.
It costs $200 to do that?
No. It costs $200 if you never show up.
If you don't. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a $200
No,
ticket.
that's worth it.
Yeah.
I would do that.
So, and then the last time I got pulled over, the cop, you know where the library is? In Foley?
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, right by the movie theater.
Yeah, I know
Anyway,
where it is.
so I was going towards Casey's, and Casey's had this just obnoxiously large sign up that I could not see past, and it was like, Mountain Dew, get 5 for $70. That's kind of a deal. Fuck yourself. Woo! And I was like, oh my god, I can't see around this sign at all. So I just kept inching forward and forward. I was like,
nose out.
fuck it. I can't see around this. I can't see around this goddamn thing. So I was like, fuck it. I'm going. And so I went. And you know the Franson Bank there's always like 8 cops sitting there watching for people to drive through this stop sign because there's a giant sign that you can't see around.
Yeah.
So the cop pulls me over, and there's 2 cops because there was 2 cops sitting there. And so they both pulled me over. And he was like, you know why I pulled you over? And I said, yeah. And he's like, why? And I was like, because I kind of ran that stop sign. He's like, no, you ran it. And I was like, the reason I ran the stop sign is because I couldn't see around the freaking sign that they had at Casey's. I was like, if I could have seen around, I was like, granted, I should have stopped. I really should have. But I was so frustrated that I couldn't see around it that I just went.
Yeah.
I was like, they need to take that down because I can't see around it in my car.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I was in a Geo, so I was a lot lower to the ground. And so most people probably could have seen over it because it was pretty low. But I was like, I can't see around that.
Yeah.
They need to take that down. And the cop was just like, well, you need to stop at stop signs. I was like, I'm sorry. Yes, I should. And I'll make sure that I stop from now on. But they need to take that down. Yeah. He was like, well, we'll talk to him tomorrow morning. And they still put signs up there all the time.
Yeah.
So
I think I know what sign you're talking about because they have like one up all the time.
Yeah, it's always a cardboard sign of some sort. And
yeah.
It blocks people's view all the time. And it's like that and the stupid shrubbery 1 block down to the east.
Yeah.
You can never see around that stupid freaking shrubbery. They need to take out a bunch of trees there because you can't see shit. All of those stops in Foley, most of them suck.
I've gotten pulled over 3 times. Never got a ticket. And they were all for speeding. Yeah, I think they all were. Honestly, okay, I know in my head I've been pulled over 3 times. One of them I don't remember at all.
Huh.
It's just gone. It must not have been that memorable. I didn't get a ticket. So it's just like, fuck it, whatever. But the first time I got pulled over, I had just gotten my license a month prior. So I was 17 and I just gotten it. And I was speeding down 23. I was going like 70. So I was going to, and it was only 55 at the time. So the guy pulled me over and he checked my ID and stuff and my license and everything, and it's just like, well, you've only had your license for a month, so let's try and slow it down.
Sure.
So he gave me a pass. The other time, which was a little more memorable, was that I was out at a buddy's place. God, we were sitting up in his barn playing guitar in like a hay bale igloo we had made. This big ass like hay bale igloo, and we'd crawl inside, and then we'd sit there and we'd play guitar. I have horrific allergies, so I'm really allergic to like pollen and hay fever and ragweed and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting inside of a hay bale igloo for 4 hours, I couldn't breathe when I got out of there. It was awful. So I I'm feeling like hell. It's 4 a.m. I'm just like, I need to go home and sleep. Like I have to be up in like 5 hours. I'm gonna go home.
Right.
So I get on the road and I head home, and actually I was on County Road 4, like you mentioned before, heading back towards Foley.
Okay.
So I'm on 4 and I'm driving down the road there. And then I turned onto, I went north on 66, which is actually really close to my parents' place. So I turn onto 66. I get all the way up to the intersection of 23 and 66. So at this point, I'm a quarter mile from home. Well, the second I got onto 4, I'd only been on 4 for like an eighth of a mile, and I saw a cop following me.
Of course.
And he was following me close.
Yeah.
He followed me for 2 miles, just right on my ass, just for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, he flips his lights on right as I'm about to take a left and head home. And yeah, I'm a quarter mile from home. So he finally flips his lights on, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, oh my God, I look like I'm freaking destroyed. Like, I'm exhausted. It's 4 a.m. and my eyes are bright red.
Right.
And, like, I'm breathing, like, weird and stuff. Like, he's going to think I'm wasted or high or something. And I get pulled over, and I was going 61 in a 55. And it was just like, really? So he pulls me over, and it's just like, you know why I pulled you over? And it's like, I was going a little fast. And he's like, yeah, and you speed limit here is 55, and I had you clocked in at 62, and I was just like, really? 62? Like, that's, like, I'm sorry, like...
I'm sorry for that grave injustice. There.
Yes, I apologize. I am the most dark of criminals.
Take me away. I'm sorry.
So, but I'm, like, in the back of my head, like, my heart's just pounding super hard.
Well, yeah.
Because just, like, even though I know I've done nothing wrong, I'm still, like, I look like I've done something wrong. And it's 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And it's just like, God damn. So I'm sitting there, and I hand him my stuff, and he goes back to his car, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, crap, he's going to come out, and he's going to make me do the breathalyzer thing. And then he's going to be like, because the thing is, they can get you on driving tired, too. Mm-hmm. If they can tell that you're exhausted, they can ticket you for it. So it's just like, crap, because I was tired, you know.
Yeah.
I tried to be very attentive and, like, show that I'm not half asleep. I am very here.
Right.
So he finally came back, and he gave me back my stuff, and he's just like, well, okay, just keep it under 55. Like, and I was like, yep, no problem, can do. Super positive, yeah. And he let me go, and I was just like,
you want some
whew.
Coke?
Now, and the thing is, I guarantee you he saw me turn into my parents' house, because he followed me all the way there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I was that close to home. I almost made it. It was just like, dang it.
Nice.
So it's frustrating.
Yeah.
The thing with you had the cop that breathalyzed you, and I was just like, why?
Yeah.
Like, are you out? Like,
I was being kind of a smart ass.
yeah.
I was wearing a shirt that said I'm probably lying.
That probably didn't help.
No. So, but I mean, at the same time, I was obviously 16.
Yeah.
I was pretty obviously not drunk. I think he thought I was drunk just because I was lipping off a little bit. But I was trying more to be funny than... Like, I was trying to ease the tension of the situation and not... Like, he just kind of seemed like he wasn't getting my... Because most...
Your sarcastic sense of humor was not appealing to him.
No, it wasn't. You know, because most of the time, like, there have been times with you know, like with cops where I get, like, the one time when that cop told me, you know, 40's up there. Like, I did joke around with him a little bit, and because then I had chips and Mountain Dew on like right next to me in the passenger seat, and he's like, "What are you doing tonight?" And I was like, I gotta be honest, I'm a complete and utter nerd, so I'm gonna go play video games. Oh yeah, and the computer was in the back there.
Yeah.
So I was like,
It's like,
I'm
I
gonna
got
go
my PC,
yeah,
and I'm
and I
ready
was like,
to go.
I'm gonna go play computer games with my friends, and as you can see, it's gonna be a hoot. And you know, and he laughed, and he was like, all right, you know. But yeah, that cop that one night, he didn't get that I was not being a smart ass. I was just being jokey like I always am.
I had a run-in with a cop once and I didn't actually get pulled over, so that's why I didn't say this before, but I ended up running into a cop that probably would have pulled me over, but what happened was I'm driving down the highway. I was actually heading out of town. It was like 3 a.m., and I was heading down south towards Tennessee, and I was in southern Minnesota. I had just left a few hours earlier, and it was like 2 a.m. or something. And my plan was just drive all night, and I'll get to Tennessee at like 10 a.m., and then I'll sleep for a few hours, and then I'll be good to go. But I ended up having a cop. He flipped his lights on. He was way behind me. So I was like, oh, he's trying to get somewhere. So I go, and I'm on the left side of the road, so I just pulled off the road. And they had like there was a full shoulder lane, so I was like, I'll just pull over there. And then he just whips by, and then he goes. And then, so I thought, okay, that's the end of it, So I'm low on gas. So I continue going down the road, and I see an exit for a gas station. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll pull off the road and go on down to this gas station. Just tiny little rinky-dink gas station, but they had pay at the pump, so it was good to go. I get there, and there's 2 cops there. And I was just like, no, these were the cops that just went past me like 5 minutes ago. Apparently, the alarms of this gas station went off. Like, they thought someone was robbing it.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sitting there and paying for my gas, and one of the cops come up, and he recognized me because he recognized my car.
Yeah.
Because he drove past, and he came up to me, and he's like, what were you doing back there? And I was like, what do you mean? You were screaming past me at like 80. Like, I got out of your way. And he's like, well, when a cop's coming up behind you, you always pull to the right side of the road. I was like, I was in the left lane. It would have taken me longer and probably been more dangerous if I had swerved to the right lane and then to the shoulder kind of thing to get out of your way.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was in the left lane. I almost hit you. And I was like, why? And the thing is, he said he almost hit me, but I had pulled out of the way way before he was even close to me. So there's no way he could have hit me. Yeah. So it's just like, I think he's just trying to make his point, and it's like, apparently that's a thing. Like, you always should pull to the right side, and it's like,
I don't know.
I guess. If there's a full left shoulder as well,
go for it.
Why? Like, and the thing is, honestly, I would never have heard anything if I hadn't have happened to bump into the guy.
Right, yeah.
So it's just like, it just nitpicky for nitpicking's sake, I think, is kind of silly.
One more thing, and then we should probably call her.
Yeah, we're getting down to the wire.
One time I was driving on 25, and my speedometer wasn't working.
Oh, fun.
And so I was just going the same speed as the person in front of me, and I was just like, they're going real fast. They're going fast. I need to slow down. So I slowed down, and as I started slowing down, a cop went past.
Yeah.
And so I'm slowing down, and the cop slams on his brakes, whips it around, starts coming up real quick, and I'm like, shit, he's going to get me because I'm the easy target.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell him my speedometer doesn't work. Like, I really was. I'm going to be like, I'm going to tell him my speedometer didn't work. I'm going to get a ticket for that, for sure. But I'm going to be honest with him because I'm not getting out of a ticket. I'm pretty sure I was going pretty fast. And I was like, wait a minute. Don't ever do this.
Okay.
This is pretty dangerous.
Here's the first thing. Don't do this at home.
He was coming up on me pretty fast, right? So I was like, all right, I'm getting the fuck out of the way real quick. So I just freaking take it into the shoulder and slam on the brakes so that I stop way sooner than what he was expecting me to stop.
Yeah.
He starts slowing down and then just flies past me and gets the next person ahead of me.
So you just fucking brakes, just pull over, and he just zips past you.
Yep, and then I just get back on the road.
Dude, I would have turned back around.
Right on by.
I would have turned back around. Now, do you think he ended up getting the guy in front of you?
Because then he pulled the person over in front of me, and I just drove right on by. I'm just like, howdy do. Thanks for taking that one for me, buddy.
I'm sneakier than you.
All right, but that's the podcast for the
You
night.
Shouldn't do that at home.
No, don't ever do that.
That's a bad idea.
That's a very bad idea. But that's the podcast for the night. Thank you. Video podcast is the pipper.
All right. Bye.